Remember, for the area of a circle, we need to know what the radius is. Here, this number, they give him the diameter. Here. So if you see, this is the diameter here is 14. We only want the radius, which is half of that, right? 7 pi r squared, right? So we square pi, we square r, sorry, let me say that again. We square r, and then we put a pi on it. So we take 7, we square it, and then we just put pi. So this is what happens in the calculator. You do the 7 squared, and then you put pi on it. So 7 squared is 49, and then put the pi, and then that's how you do your answer. Same thing for number 3, I think. If you've got the diameter, you need to find the radius first. If you've got the radius, you can just jump right in, but if you've got the diameter, you have to divide by 2, not minus 2. So just be careful about that. Yeah, so for this one, believe it or not, it's not that different. The only thing that you have to remember as you're doing this is that you have to look at what portion of the circle we're actually working on. If I only want this right here, this 50 degrees portion, and let's say my radius is 12. So here, I've got the radius. I know that I'm doing pi r squared, right? I've got the radius. So I'm going to do pi r squared, put r in. And that's 144 pi. That's the whole thing. That's the entire circle. But what we want is we want this piece. We want this much. And this is where the 50 degrees here in my problem comes in. Because this is the whole thing. But we only want 50 degrees out of 360. Because, you know, it's a circle, right? 360. So 50 degrees here out of 360, that's what 50 out of 360 times 144 pi. It says exact answer in terms of pi. So we can always just try to use the calculator and see if it comes out exact. If it doesn't answer in terms of pi, so we can always just try to use the calculator and see if it comes out exact. If it doesn't come out exact, then we'll have to write it as a fraction in simplest form. But usually they come out pretty nicely. Yeah, see? So all these numbers here, the answer here is 20 pi. So for me, as I'm going through and doing this, that's what I need to do. That's the way I would do it, just so that it makes sense to me. Find the area of the whole thing and say, all right, well, I only want 50 degrees out of 360. I only want this percentage of it, 50 out of 360. So let's multiply what I got for the whole thing by this percentage to scale it down to what I want. And there's my answer, 20 pi. Now, your answer is going to be slightly different because they use different numbers than yours, but same idea. Basically, this is sort of a two-parter like the old ones. The first thing you need to be able to do, the first thing you need to be able to do is you need to be able to do the segment, the sector thing from before. So like, here's our sector. We know how to find this. This is what we were doing earlier. So, you know, if we know our angle, if we know our radius, we can figure out the area of the sector. Now, the thing where we need to continue from is we need to be able to cut, right? We need to be able to cut off this bottom triangle, right? So what we want to get rid of is we want to get rid of this piece here, right? This piece has to go. So what it boils down to, is there's the sector minus the triangle. That is to say, if we can do what we had before, angle divided by 360 times pi r squared, and we subtract the triangle, and the formula for that, remember the trig formula for the area of a triangle is 1/2 a b sine x, where x is the angle. So we can actually, this is a complicated variable, I don't want to use that, we can just use that x again. And then a and b, we're talking about this, so a and b are both r. So when you do a problem like this, you can actually make this equation a lot simpler. And here all you need to know is what's x and what's r. Well, what's x? X is this angle out here, 50 degrees. And what's r? R is the radius, which is 12. Well, now that's all the variables that I need to plug in, so I'm going to plug in x here and x here. I'm going to plug in r here and r here. So 50 goes here, 50 goes here, 12 goes here, 12 goes here. And then that's how you do it once you plug all that in. The only thing, again, just like the previous ones, you got to make sure that you're finding the shaded piece's angle, right? You don't want to find the angle out here. You want to find this angle out here. So if they give you 310 is this, but you want 50. So it all goes into, well, here's, find your r, find your angle x, and then plug it into this formula right here. I recommend you write this down because that's going to be what gets you the rest of the way. Yeah, I'm just going to literally type in my numbers, and since I know your son has a type of calculator where you can type it in kind of like what I'm going to do, you can just sort of follow my example modeled with your numbers instead of mine. So instead of r equals 12 like what I have, you can pick whatever yours is. Instead of the angle being 50 like I have, you can use whatever yours is. So I'm just going to do my angle divided by 360 times, and then I've got a pi, so I'm going to get pi into the calculator, times, well, my R is 12, hit the square button. And so now what I can do is just do minus, and then minus this, whatever this is. 1/2 times my R squared. R is 12 for me again. Times, there's a sine button, you can hit that right here. And then my angle is 50. And I can just, I typed it all in, now I can just get my answer. So this came out to be 7.676653167. So I'm going to round that. Oop, it went away. You know, I'm going to round to the nearest tenth. I look at the hundredths place, that's a 7. So I'm going to round that up. So my answer would be 7.7. That would be my personal final answer, because these are what my numbers are. What you're going to do is just like I did. The only difference is you're going to type in, instead of 50, like where I put here and here, you're going to type in your angle. Instead of 12, which I put here and here, you're going to type in your radius. And otherwise, it's the same thing. And likewise for the rest of these, if you can identify, hey, this is my angle, hey, this is my radius, you can go through and do this completely the same way every single time. Since all of them are asking about the segment of a circle. This little smidgen out in the corner here. The crust of the pizza slice, if you will. Alright, then I'm going to head out. Send me an email if any of the rest of these are causing any problems. I will for sure make a video on these. If you're still having trouble, just let me know and I can put another video up on YouTube, okay? Awesome. Anytime. Happy to help. All right. Have a good one.